So Jak and Daxter recently got a re-release as part of the Classics catalog for PlayStation 4 and 5. This means that a brand new trophy list with new trophies compared to the PlayStation Vita, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation 4 version is here. This means though that there are two versions of the Precursor legacy currently on the PlayStation Store that can be played for PS4 and PS5. It's a little bit confusing. Now it is the same PlayStation 2 version that we had previously, but it is running on that new emulator, so we get all of those new features along with it, like the rewind feature, the save states, control remapping, along with filters. But I think the most interesting thing here is the brand new trophy list. The Precursor Legacy is probably one of the easiest platinums to get. It's always a joy going through this game and grabbing the platinum for the various versions that we already have, though those trophy lists are all the same across all of those platforms, whereas this version of the game has brand new ones, which does make the platinum experience a little bit more challenging. But that being said, this is still an incredibly easy platinum to get, and any excuse to go back through the Precursor Legacy, as it's my favorite Jak game, is always a treat. Looking at the old trophy list, it's essentially just go through the game and collect everything. There were individual trophies here for the certain different objectives that you had to do to collect a power cell anyway, like saving Flut on Sentinel Beach, or destroying all of the dark eco crystals within the Spider Cave. So it's basically the same gig here for the new trophy list, though rather than having individual power cell trophies, there's now individual trophies for collecting all power cells in each of the areas. So no more Scoutfly trophies, those are just included within collecting all power cells in a given area, along with one trophy for collecting all Precursor orbs. For the old list, there were 3 separate ones for collecting a specific amount, with the final one being all 2,000. The reason behind this was to make some extra space for some brand new challenge trophies. But before we get into that new stuff, we have to go through the game and collect everything. So Jak and Daxter decide to take a trip over to Misty Island. While there, Daxter accidentally falls into a pool of magical grape soda, turning him into
Ratman.
It's explained by Dad here that there's an old wizard that lives up north who's got the capabilities of transforming Daxter back. However, in order to reach him, we have to collect a bunch of power cells in order to access certain things that will progress the journey forward. After Dad clubs us over the head with his stick a few times,
I can't believe you've done this.
Our journey then begins here on Geyser Rock. As we go through each area, we're going to ensure to collect every single last Easter egg and power cell we can get our dirty fingers on. We're going to be hearing this a lot. Out of the entire history of platformer video games, still to this day, there is not a single collectible animation and sound that comes close to Jak and Daxter. We're also going to be hearing a lot of this, too. When money goes into my bank account, it makes the Precursor Orb sound effect. There's a total of 2,000 Precursor Orbs and 101 power cells to collect, and in order to collect all of this garbage, we'll be tasked to do various things, like uppercutting a bunch of cows in the ass in order to get them back into the pen. Don't worry, Farmer Bruce did give us permission to do this, ensuring a pack of rats don't eat the muffins. What? No, my f***ing muffins! Catching a whole load of fish. So much PTSD surrounding this specific thing. I'll tell you what, as a kid, this made me throw many PlayStation 2 controllers. I've also never witnessed someone to be so stoked, so happy, so full of joy over fish. Now, this guy really likes fish. Rescuing the bro's cat that doesn't want rescuing. This was also something that frustrated the living turkey nipples out of me as a kid. Why did he just stuff him in the backpack like that, though? Holy sh**. Reconnecting the town's Wi-Fi. Performing the Heimlich maneuver on an albatross. Bioshock.
I chose the impossible. I chose
Making one big-ass omelet.
Oh my.
Dark Souls cave exploring before Dark Souls cave exploring. I honestly hate this place so much. I despise it. It is hands down the worst level of the entire game. Yo, are those fucking spiders? Did it actually think there'd be spiders in Spider Cave? I thought that was just the name of the place. So fucking spiders. What the fuck, man? Funding your uncle's gacha addiction. It's a 0.2 probability, Uncle Steve. The odds are not in your favor. Garden extermination. Yet, see, this is another one that absolutely twists me because I don't get it done fast enough, and then the f***ing purple cabbage keeps growing back. Joining up with the animal rescue squad, committing vehicular manslaughter against purple demon wearing a nappy. Come on! What? What? Getting swarmed by 1 million alcoholic imps. Somebody help! 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 Yeah, there's a few annoying power cells to collect every once in a while, but overall, the experience is pretty easygoing. There's none here that are inherently hard. There is actually 2 secret power cells that you will be required to pick up to get 101 total. There's a middle crate located just outside of the entrance of the spider cave. In order to break this, we need yellow eco, which we can grab within the spider cave, but we have to make sure we get back with just enough time to spare to break open the crate. And secondly, there's another well-hidden power cell within the mountain pass that requires you to activate the yellow eco vents within the snowy mountain level. Once you've done that, this yellow eco vent right here will be open and we can bust down the wall and get our juicy collectible. Collecting 2,000 precursor orbs might come across as sounding like a gargantuous task, but it's really straightforward. These are littered everywhere. They're pretty hard to miss. However, some of the precursor orb vents that require blue eco in order to activate to get a bunch of orbs are positioned in really tricky spots, like this one here in Rock Village, for example. The blue eco is just far enough out of reach where you'll only just make it to the vent if you're performing the movement perfectly in order to get there. You may also be in a position sometimes where you've only got one precursor orb left. This is platformer game Nightmare Fuel 101, where you've missed one singular collectible and there is no indication or way of knowing where it's located. And yes, this happened to me in the spider cave, of all places. While this little cheese slice of knowledge is embedded into me by this point, I do feel for the people that are playing Jak for the first time trying to get the platinum, because how the hell would they know to jump on the plant's head here to get a few extra precursor orbs once they've defeated it? Once all that nonsense has been taken care of, we slap over the giant robot with the power of Greek yogurt. We've now saved the world from being plunged into the depths of dark eco, but unfortunately in the process of doing so, we killed the only man that's alive on the planet capable of transforming Daxter back. Yeah, he doesn't really seem too bothered by it, so I guess that's a win. Also, if you've collected all 101 power cells by this point, you'll automatically get the secret ending, which honestly goes down as one of the most disappointing additional endings and rewards for collecting everything. Just a side note here, I absolutely love how Jak throws all of the power cells up onto the door. Like, what's he doing? Like, why is he in that stance? Door opens, a massive white light appears, and like, that's it. That's what you get. What? For doing all of that? For collecting all 100 and what? You showed me nothing. You gave me nothing! Yeah, so it turns out the thing beyond the door is actually the time-traveling machine that Jak and the gang use at the beginning of Jak 2 to travel into the future. But there's no way you would have guessed that this is a lame way of rewarding the player for collecting all power cells. At this stage, most of the trophies have been achieved. Like I said, a pretty straightforward experience. All that remain now are the few new ones that have been added to this version. The first one here is Daxter's performance. Travel to the blue eco platform in 12 or fewer jumps in Geyser Rock. So at first I was thinking, alright, yeah, this is, pretty straightforward, pretty easy. You just have to make your way to the blue eco event where you get the max charge of blue eco. No, that's not what this means. It means you've got to scale all the way up to the top of Geyser Rock where you activate the platform to bring you back down to the portal. That makes it a little bit more challenging because there are multiple ledges that you are required to jump over beyond that of 12 jumps total in order to get up there. So you're sort of forced to get a little bit creative with it. The method that I used here was to use a high jump wherever there would be 2 ledges requiring 2 smaller jumps. For any of the spike pits, just simply walk into them, take the damage damage, there's crates along the way to the top with a full charge of green eco, and some of the ledges here do actually have some rocks around them where you can actually just straight walk up them without needing to jump over them. At first, this did seem impossible, and it was a little bit ridiculous that I was testing literally every single ledge to see if I could scale it without using up a jump, and believe it or not, this worked. Also, none of these new trophies are missable. If you fail them, you can retry them, even without the use of the rewind feature. I purposely didn't use it in order to see if these were missable, or if you could retry them, and yes, you can. For Guys Rock, if you do stuff up, just rewind back to the start, or of course, leave through the portal. I like this trophy a lot. This is a great example of whoever's responsible for doing new trophies like this getting really creative with it. Next, we have Jack Be Nimble, reach the top of the Forbidden Temple without running out of blue eco. So this trophy will begin the minute you walk into the blue eco vent at the entrance of the temple. From there, just speed your way all the way up to the top of the tower. There's plenty of smaller blue ecos that are along the way within the crates. You should actually have quite a bit of blue eco charge if you've picked up all of the smaller charges along the way by the time you get to the top. This is fairly straightforward. If you do fail this one, however, you can just simply run back to the entrance, walk into the vent again, and restart. Next is breaking 15 barrels in Rock Village. Okay, see, this is one where you can tell they were running out of ideas. There's a bunch of barrels throughout Rock Village, just simply break 15 of them. I mean, like, come on, guys. Like, what about the infinitely spawning Yeti lurkers up in Snowy Mountain? What if there was a trophy to say, I don't know, defeat 30 of them, or some ridiculous number where you've got to, like, spawn camp them? Or something. Next, we have to break all of the green eco chests on the slide in the Lost Precursor City. So the slide segment in this level is probably the worst part of the level, because the first time you're going down the slide, you're trying to collect all the collectibles along the way, which even in itself can be a little bit tricky, as controlling Jack on the slide feels incredibly awkward and stiff. So now, on top of the collectibles, you also have to worry about all of the crates as well. I think this one and Daxters Performance are probably the hardest trophies in the game, and even that's saying something, because these trophies aren't exactly hard per se, but it's nice to see trophies like this in the Precursor Legacy. Next, we have to achieve a time of 40 seconds in the Precursor Basin Race. Now, to achieve the Power Cell, we have to get 45 seconds. So long as you're using the lurkers to use the jump shortcuts, along with collecting the blue eco to increase the zoomer's speed, this is pretty straightforward. You should end the race somewhere around 37 to 39 seconds. Next is collecting 25 cooling balloons in lava tube without dying. I actually thought this one was going to be the hardest when I was reading it, but it turns out it's actually pretty easy. Just make sure to collect as many of the balloons as possible as you're making your way through. You should get the trophy pop at about the halfway point throughout the lava tube. If you do end up activating the halfway checkpoint, but you still haven't got the trophy, you're gonna have to go back and reset. And the final one here is look towards Sandover Village from the top of Golem Maya Citadel? Yeah, I mean, this is another one of those things where it's like, the bros were running out of the creative juices. This automatically popped for me once I got to the top of the Citadel, like after using the elevator. I didn't even have to actually look out towards Sandover Village. It just kind of did it for me. Hey, it's a nice, easy, free silver. I'ma take it. This is most definitely the definitive trophy list out of the two that we now have. I think that Sony did a pretty good job with this. There are some, you know, questionable ones here. And it's sort of that thing of what more can they really do to create trophies and achievements and additional challenges for Precursor Legacy. It's a very straightforward and quite basic platformer title. I did give an example though with the Yeti thing, and I'm sure there's some other stuff you could have done, like don't get hit once in the spider caves or some nonsense like that. I don't know. But still, it's cool to know that Sony are bothering about making new trophy lists for old classic games that already previously had trophy lists on, say, something like the PlayStation 3 HD collection versions. They didn't have to do this, and the fact they did is much appreciated. So that's the brand new Jak and Daxter Platinum experience. It's definitely going to be interesting to see if Sony bother about re-releasing the other Jak games, and if they do, what changes they'll make to those trophy lists, as those games are definitely a little bit harder to platinum compared to Jak 1. Thanks for tuning on in today, fellas. Be sure to subscribe to keep notified as to when uploads go live, along with liking the video. It works magic for me. It helps me out. please like the video. Thank you so much to all of my wonderful patrons for supporting the channel. I hope you're all collectively having a fantastic day, and we'll talk again real soon.